Hello there. Hi. Hope you're all having an excellent Thursday, whatever day it is. Okay, I am super excited. I am like buzzing. I am so excited. There is some news to talk about today, and we're just gonna try and dive into it. And I'm still kind of jazzed from yesterday, completely unrelated to Warhammer, but the Nintendo Direct last night was fucking incredible. But there's a lot of really awesome Warhammer stuff to talk about today, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So before I get into it, let me just real quick cover debatably the most important news for those of you watching, because I know my audience cares more about Total War than they do probably the other things. So we got some really awesome, but the way it was delivered was not awesome news. And I kind of want to start with the not great stuff first, so it doesn't spoil my mood, and then we will progressively grow into hyper and hyper things. So, first thing we need to talk about is that Total War Warhammer has come out and confirmed that they are looking to do 3 DLCs this year. However, the way they confirmed it was that Rich Aldridge, who is the head of the DLC department, basically had to come out and make a video because apparently such a loud, I don't honestly think it's the majority, but a very loud subset of the community has basically complained so hard and has become so negative that they've just resorted to attacking the community members, which is super not okay. I don't think anyone in my audience would do that, but if you are watching this and you are the one that was doing that, first of all, shame on you. Shame on you. Second of all, don't do that. They're literally just grunt employees. They don't have any control over what Creative Assembly is doing. That is literally the equivalent of going to like your local movie theater and finding out that the movie you want to see isn't out yet. So you start yelling at the person behind the cash register. Don't do that. You're a dick. You're a massive asshole if you do that. There are appropriate ways to complain about, and when I say complain, it sounds like, oh, don't complain, only like bad people. Like, complaining is a totally normal thing to do. I complain a lot. It's a way to express your dissatisfaction or your disinterest or your concern. Like, complaining is not a bad thing by any means. So it's fine to complain. It really is. It's fine to make posts on Reddit or the Steam forums or the Total War forums or wherever, being like, hey, like, I'm kind of concerned about this. I would love for this to be addressed. Hope everything's going, like, just, be civil about it. A lot of people are not being civil. They're being massive dickheads about it. And hopefully that's nobody in my community. So I'm really not going to linger that long on it because I try my damnedest to have a positive outlook because I know a lot of the people at CA and I do my damnedest to try and really figure out what's going on over there and try and kind of figure out how things are going and like what projections we're looking at. And I'm still very positive about how things are going along. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything that makes me go, oh God, the game's dying. If I saw that, I would address it. Like, I would come on and make a video genuinely talking about, here are my concerns. Here are ways CA can alleviate those concerns, etc. But I don't see anything troubling at all. Like, everything is part of the course, really. So hopefully you can take it from me, if nothing else, that we really are fine. I know it may not be the speed you want it to happen at, but that's just kind of life. Rich explains on his video, and this is something I've talked about prior on the channel, that the reason a lot of the things were delayed last year was because Immortal Empires and Warhammer 3 did not come out the way CA hoped it did. The game's released, and unfortunately the DLC team had to kind of take over and start fixing all of those issues. And because they were really focused on making Immortal Empires the best experience it could be, and working on Warhammer 3 to make it the best experience it could be, and then, leading into the Champions of Chaos DLC, that resulted in the first DLC of this year getting pushed back to this year. It might have come out, this past winter, either earlier this year or at the end of last year. But due to the fact that the community was really not satisfied with Immortal Empires, which I think was totally fair, I think Immortal Empires now is in a way better state than it was 6 months ago. Then, because of that, things had to get pushed back, and that's just the way it goes. Immortal Empires, at the end of the day, it needs to be as good as it can be, because that's the primary focus. Like, I love new content as much as everybody else loves new content, but at the end of the day, the Immortal Empires, like, the base content has to be strong. I won't say it has to be perfect, because it's Creative Assembly, and every time they release any kind of update, like, they may fix 100 things, but they're going to break 6 other things that then have to be fixed. And it's just kind of an eternal game of whack-a-mole, because the game is just so massive and there are so many variables. I genuinely do not think it's possible to make it perfect. I think it's possible to make it very, very good. I don't think perfection will ever be attainable, just because, you tweak one thing and it's going to cause something a few miles off to break suddenly. But in any event, Immortal Empires, it is far more important for there to be constant patches that improve Immortal Empires, improve the gameplay experience, that leads to Immortal Empires being as good as it can be, and then putting DLC on top of it. You don't want to rush out new DLC, because if they bring out a bunch of new content and they start stacking it on top of a bad foundation, that foundation's going to crack and it's going to be even harder to fix. I know everybody hates that. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, because it means that new content is slower to come out. However, I do think that Immortal Empires is in a much better place now, and is in a perfectly good place for, hopefully, the Chaos Dwarfs. It's still not perfect. Like, it's still in beta for a reason. There are still a couple of notable bugs. There are still various features that I think Creative Assembly hasn't really figured out yet. Most notably, like, sieges are still pretty rough. We're kind of caught between different communities, where it feels like there's one community within the Total War community that hates sieges as a concept and does not want them to be in the game at all. And then there are players like myself that kind of preferred the way it was compared to the way it is now. And then there's like a third subset that wants something totally different. So, like, there are still things to be done, but I don't think that alone is like a crack in the foundation, so to speak. That's more of kind of like an isolated thing that needs to be handled. And hopefully we'll see that addressed in patch 2.4, which should be coming up either this month or next month. But on the exciting end of things, and like I said, I'm going to end it with, Rich literally had to come out personally and ask people to not be mean, and he should never have to do that. Even if you're like, well, CA should communicate better, that's not an excuse to be a twat. Like, there's just no excuse to be that mean about it and that rude about it. My heart goes out to the community people at CA, because their job is so thankless. Like, they are literally trying to do their best. They're not perfect at it. They're going to make mistakes, especially because all of them, I should say, are new. CA had a completely brand new community team, I think starting like last summer. So, like, a lot of these guys are not super experienced in this particular role, at least at CA. I don't know about their prior experience, so give them some grace. And it's fine to express concern. It's fine not to like where maybe certain aspects of the game or where the game is at now, and to express that, but, like, try to be constructive with your criticism. I shouldn't have to say this, but there are people out there that need to hear it. And I'm sure there's going to be someone in the comments, and I'm going to scroll down, they're going to be like, well, if CA would just communicate better, then this wouldn't happen, which is total bullshit, because this happens no matter what. In any event, so what are the positive things about this update? Well, first of all, they have confirmed that as long as no shit hits the fan and everything continues as it's currently going, we will be looking at the next major DLC in April. And they have confirmed on some posts that I saw, I believe on either the Discord, I think it was on the Discord, that they are not announcing the next DLC in April. They are releasing the next DLC in April, which means that the announcement should be either in very early April or late March. I personally think it's probably going to be sometime in March. They usually like to have 4 weeks of build up to big DLCs, especially because this is a race pack, and race packs tend to have like 4 weeks of like lots of fanfare and showing off of features and stuff. But then Rich went even further, and he basically went ahead and gave us the roadmap for the year, which is that, so they're looking to release the next DLC in April, and then they're going to be releasing another DLC in summer, And then they're going to be releasing a final DLC in winter for this year. So that's 3 DLCs this year, which would be awesome. Obviously, that would be more than we've had like in the last 2 years, I think. Because this past year we had 1 DLC and Warhammer 3's release, and then the year before that was kind of a weird situation where Warhammer 3 was supposed to come out and then it got delayed, so there wasn't really anything. I think there might have been 1 DLC that year, but so this would be the most content we've had in a long time. So I personally am super excited. I'll be doing kind of more like theory type videos about what I think those other DLCs are going to be in the coming weeks. I will say that just kind of right now, I personally am thinking that it's probably going to be a so if we believe and feel very confident, which I do, that Chaos Dwarfs are going to be in April, I think it's probably going to be a very standard Lord pack in summer, because this game has not had a standard Lord pack yet, and CA has confirmed that they're still doing those. So I'm hoping it's going to be like Kislev versus Norska, or Cathay versus, I don't know, Beastmen or Greenskins or something. Personally, I'm not really hoping for any Game 3 versus Game 3. I don't think that's worth having. I much prefer Game 3 versus Game 1 or Game 3 versus Game 2 to kind of, because I think it's easier to focus on fixing those kinds of things, because a lot of the earlier game races don't necessarily need like big overhauls. They just need more content. Like Norska, Norska is still due for a free LC update. They've confirmed they're doing that. We're just not there yet. So this could be a good opportunity where it's like, hey, Kislev's in a relatively good place. Like it could definitely use some tweaks. But like Katarin's campaign, I think is perfectly fine. Boris Ursus could use a couple of little minor things, but like Kostaltin could use some pretty serious tweaks. So, if they came out and they're like, all right, we're going to do Kislev. So here's a big DLC. We're going to give you like Mother Ostenkia or the Sun Warrior. I can't remember her name. But it's like, oh my God, I cannot remember her name ever off the top of my head. But like one of those 2 characters would be really cool. Or I think it's not the Sun Warrior, it's like the Warrior of the Dawn, I think is her title. But in any event, like Mother Ostenkia, who's that is the Baba Yaga character. She's also like the Ungrol associated lady. I think she would be awesome. And you put her up against like a Famir matriarch character like Muna Mem, right? Like that would be super fun. I'm going to be doing a pretty deep dive video about how I think that DLC would look. But if we did that, then you could have the kind of the free LC-ish aspect of that DLC focus very heavily on an update to Norska and their mechanics to make them as good as possible. You give them a DLC to give them a legendary lord and a bunch of new other toys, and then you've got like Kislev get some minor fixes where they need them, as well as a bunch of new content. Great, awesome. That makes like a really solid summer pack, and then we go on to winter, which, because there's such a long time between that summer and winter, it makes me think it's another race pack. Personally, I'm expecting Total War Warhammer 3 to have a significant number of race packs. We've only had like 2 or 3 for all of our prior games. With Warhammer 1, we had Beastmen, Wood Elves, Norska, kind of Bretonia, depending on how you look at that. You could argue that there were 4, though Bretonia was already like kind of in there already. And then for Warhammer 2, we had Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast. Those were kind of our big ones. So, but for this game, like there really is no limit. I think it just depends on how successful the DLCs continue to be, and how much like they really want to push it. They could really come around and say, oh, we're going to do Chaos Dwarves, the Naga of Koresh, the Kingdoms of End, the Southern Realms / Dogs of War. And, they could say, okay, we're done. But they could also go so much further than that. They could be like, all right, we're going to do Nippon. We're going to do the Men of the Southlands. We're going to do the Fishmen. Like there's no limit. It's just a matter of, I think, how much interest there is and how successful the game continues to be, which, I mean, as much as these long droughts suck, I don't think they really matter. I think what matters is how much the DLCs sell, which so far they've continued to be very popular. So who knows? We'll see. But enough on that. Now I want to talk about the really exciting shit. Oh man, this literally came out just a little bit ago, and like showed up in my inbox. So I'm live reacting to this. I have not read the article. I literally saw the artist who made this new Saurus champion. Look how scary this Saurus is. And he's a sacred spawning of Sotek. And look, he's even got a Skaven cloak. Oh, this guy is so badass looking. I know that looks like it's like horrifying exposed muscle, but I believe that's actually his red scales because he's a sacred spawning. But he looks incredible, and he's wielding dual axes. You ever seen a dual axe Saurus champion? Oh my god, I'm so excited. All right, so this is for the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay game. I have been waiting for fucking ever for the Lustria expansion, and they're finally ready to talk about it. So let's dive in. What's coming up for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay? Cubicle 7 has plans in place to produce a great selection of supplements for Warhammer Fantasy over the next year, and while some of these projects are yet to begin development, we have 3 currently in the works that should be available over the next few months. Nearing completion is the hotly anticipated guide to the land and inhabitants of the continent of Lustria. This massive 224-page source book goes into fine detail about the perils faced by those who are lured to this mysterious and exotic land. Wealth and renown can be found by those who adventure to the New World, but it is an unforgiving and perilous place. Only the most resourceful and good-fortuned visitors have any hope of returning to their home shores. Lustria is a home to the Lizardman civilization. Whilst it is a shadow of its former might, it is still more than capable of defending itself from intruders. Lustria provides everything a GM needs to know about the 3 species of lizardmen: Skinks, Saurus, Kroxgor, and their Slawn masters, and many of the strange and invariably deadly creatures they share their inhabitant with. Many temple cities and sites are described with a close examination of the temple city of Tloxlan. Yeah, we're getting a temple city in depth. Oh my god, I'm so fucking excited. There has never been a roleplay supplement for Lustria or anything in Lustria, and it is easily, in my opinion, the most hotly anticipated. Is that Luther Harkin? Luther Harkin! Oh my god. Oh Jesus. So this is Krotzazil. The Saurus is numbered among many formidable warriors who guard the temple city of Zlonhapek. Dude, that means Chalkox is gonna show up. Oh my god, fucking Chalkox might be in this. So Chalkox is the special character from the city of Tloxlan. Oh wait, no, this is Zlonhapek. Wait, no, Chalkox is from Zlonhapek. Tloxlan would be, if they're doing a detailed dive on Tloxlan, that's actually gonna be Teto Echo. Oh, dude, if we got Teto Echo, if we got new Teto Echo art and like an examination of him, I'm gonna lose my shit. There are other civilizations that have managed at no cost to carve out a lair on the coast or the jungle. This book takes a detailed look at the haunted shores of the Vampire Coast, the Norse settlement of Skeggi, the High Elf Fortress and Harbor at the Citadel of Dusk, and the Clan Pestilence presence in the ruins of the defiled temple city of Quetzal. Fuck yes, dude. Oh, so it's also very, very likely we're gonna get a playable profile, or not playable, but like as you can have him as a bad guy for your campaign. There should be a profile for Lord Skrolk, because Lord Skrolk is actually heavily mentioned in a prior supplement they released, that he actually went to Lustria very recently in the timeline. Because they released a supplement that's kind of about him, but the ultimate conclusion is that he's not actually in the Southlands anymore. He went to Lustria, so he may also be showing up. Dude, Harkin looks so good. Oh my gosh, he looks disgruntled and insane. I cannot wait to see his profile. Arch Grand Commodore Luther Harkin rules his kingdom of the undead on Lustria's Vampire Coast, or he does when he's in the right mood, at least. In addition to this, there is a guide to adventuring in Lustria, including 4 new careers and endeavors focusing on establishing and managing a no doubt forlorn settlement, several new diseases to which plague players, options for playing a skink. We could play a lizard man. Oh fuck. Oh my god, there's playable lizard men. Oh my god. Dozens of adventure ideas and several astonishingly powerful NPCs to act as patrons, nemesis, or both. Oh my god, the interpreter is one of 4 new careers. Oh, I'm losing my shit. I'm losing my shit. Ubersreich Adventures 3 is next in line after that. This book revisits the city and explains the changes that are afoot because of the events of the Enemy Within campaign. Previously published adventures such as An Eye for an Eye, The Horror of Hugeldal, and The Mirror of Desire are given a fresh new look and updated rules so that they can be used with the current edition for the roleplay game. Ideas on combining these standalone adventures into a short campaign are provided alongside a comprehensive timeline of events unfolding in and around Ubersreich with additional plot hooks and potential adventures. Additionally, an entire new scenarios intended to be played after An Eye for an Eye revolves around recent power shifts and a monstrous threat, the sleepy hamlet of Geisbach. We are also putting together a guide to playing characters from the Rogues and Rangers class called Deft Steps, Light Fingers, which will cover subject matter including the Cult of Ranald, how to set up a gang, ideas for carrying out con jobs and forgeries, gamekeeping and poaching, and expanded rules for wilderness travel, the Cult of Tall, and a rogues gallery of famous bounty hunters, outlaws, crooks, and gamblers to provide inspiration, employment, or rivalry. Well, fuck me. This looks like way too much fun. Whoo! So this will be out literally any day now. Like they've basically done all of the big reveals. Oh my god, there's playable skinks, and we're getting the fact that the High Elves, the Norse, and the Skaven are also like, I knew the Vampire Coast was going to be in it. I did not think we were going to get the Citadel of Dusk, Quetzal, or Skeggy. So that is all super fucking exciting. Yeah, oh my god, I am over the moon. This is why when I came on, I was like bouncing off the walls, and have returned to bouncing off the walls. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So, please let me know what you think of everything I talked about today down below, what you're most excited about. If you have any concerns or thoughts, I'd love to read them. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, because I've got people I got to talk to about stuff now. So, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.